I have trained the most horrific, monstrous creature known to man. You can smell fear. How to Train Your Dragon is pretty universally accepted as one of DreamWorks' biggest franchises. It's consistently seen as the best objectively, with no real bad movies or even bad spin-offs. It's also just kind of existing. Unlike Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, or Madagascar, it feels like this series isn't talked about. Parts of the first film are iconic, really just the flying scenes in Toothless. Other than the scene in the third film where Toothless fails to rizz up the light fury, I never seen any memes of the series. None of the characters are discussed super well. It's respected, but it's not beloved. It's weird, because again, none of these are great films. So hey, let's run over to Burke to look over the franchise. The movies, the shows, the other stuff. Starting to drag on. Here's my review of How to Train Your Dragon. The original How to Train Your Dragon is simultaneously one of the most popular animated films of recent memory, and kind of underrated. Yeah, the animation is great. This is why when CGI really perfected a lot of their weaknesses. Hair, cloth, scales, water. All things that are front and center in this film, and are all put off fantastically. You wouldn't be able to guess this movie is 16 years old. And it's still among the best looking 3D I've seen in a film. Honestly, probably just the best 3D experience. The fight scenes always among the most grand and just memorizing scenes in animation. Plus some honestly underrated choreography with things like the reveal of Toothless' eye, or him just slowly opening up his wings before his first flight. DreamWorks is very infamous for modernizing and dating their movies, and that can really be dangerous in a film that's got such a clear ancient time period. But weirdly, the occasional modern lingo in this film doesn't feel weird. It just kind of fits while still engrossing you in this world. The Viking setting it has is extremely well defined. It's easy to comprehend, even with the film throwing you immediately into the action, right at the start with a little build-up. Granted, I think how much Stoic just vicious hates his son from the get-go is a bit jarring, but I get it, my dad hates me too. Jay Baruchel is easily one of the greatest performances in animated film history. He captures Hiccup's complete dorkiness perfectly. His very monotone voice sells a lot of comedy. This is my favorite line in the whole franchise.
Thank you for nothing, you useless reptile.
Which was an ad-lib alongside.
Da-da-da, we're dead.
He sells everything so well. I'm so glad he remains such a consistent part of the series, even in its spin-offs. Susan, of course, is the most beloved part of the series. But honestly, it's deserved. Not only is he perfectly designed, the exact middle point of cute and cool, you can easily believe he's the most deadly dragon in the verse, while also being easily able to be tamed. He's also very subtly expressive. His eyes turning from human to monstrous to almost cat-like all the time is a very fun detail. This applies to all the dragons in the series. They're a perfect mix of monstrous but very stylized and ties directly to this franchise. Especially the Monstrous Nightmare, I adore this thing's design. I will say though, the Red Death is very lame. Its design is cool and gives a good fight scene, but introducing it an hour into the movie means it can't make a good impression. Especially since it actually is supposed to be an intelligent being and not just a mindless beast. But do you even remember its name? Granted, that's unfair when it's called 6 or 7 different names canonically, but I still feel like it could have been more interesting. Especially since what I know the book's counterpart seems to have a lot more personality. Speaking of negatives, the other kids just kind of fall in the background and don't make an impression. Fish Legs gets a few fun lines, but Snout is supposed to be the bully, but has zero presence in the film as a motivator for Hiccup. Astrid did everything he does but better. So what's the point of the Elder? She doesn't lead the clan or anything. She could have just been replaced with Gobber or Stoic. Oh, Gobber's goat, by the way. Consistently the funniest character while also having some raw moments. Love that dude. Speaking of Stoic though, I do wish we got more backstory on him in this film. He's mostly in the background since he immediately leaves on a voyage, doesn't interact with Hiccup that much. But I do think they balance making him strict, but still redeemable and likable. You can definitely still see his viewpoint. His plan is kind of nonsensical at the end. Just scare the dragons off the island, I guess. Why? You left the village undefended. Why don't they all go to Burke? What's stopping them from just going back to the nest when the Vikings leave? Or just camping from the sky and snipe the Vikings? I mean, Gobber does question him on his plan, so I think the thing is that he's too tunnel visioned on wiping out dragons to really have a plan to do that. I mean, who cares though? This film's still emotional, funny, beautiful, and dude, Hiccup losing a limb? Actual, genuine, lasting consequences in a family film? That's super rare, and I appreciate it massively. Also, fun fact, it's hard to make it out, but they officially confirmed that one of the offerings the dragons were bringing the Red Death was Gloria from Madagascar. That freaking killed her. How to Train Your Dragon 2 was adored when it came out. I remember people hyping it up as DreamWorks' best. There were riots when it lost Big Hero 6 at the Oscars, but nowadays, I don't really see anyone talk about it. I do really still love it. Taking place after the first movie, that's just a sequel, that's how it works, but why did I write this? Dragons have been fully integrated into Burke culture, with Hiccup leading searches across the country, before running into some goons of a man from Stoic's past, Drago Bloodfist. Hiccup is determined to change his mind, but on his way to Drago, he encounters his mom, who was kidnapped by a dragon shortly after Hiccup was born. and even a dragon raging vigilante. Yeah, so this movie's great. I think the side cast gets a lot more to do here. Animation's even more breathtaking, especially the lighting. Particularly in the glacial sanctuary, it's so vibrant. I love all the new dragons, especially Cloudjumper. The animated jersey is flexing at this point with the flying scenes too. Volka's a great new addition. She's kind of a dork like Hiccup while also just having the most heart-wrenching and heartwarming interactions with Stoic when they're reunited. I don't know how she wore the helmet though. Oh, and Stoic. Well, he's just kind of the same character as before at first and doubting Hiccup. Once he finds out about Drago, he immediately locks in. He's great here. Seeing his softer side and how he's truly learned to care about Hiccup. And his death, Christ, it stung. A phenomenal death scene. Even if it's funny that this film came out during Father's Day weekend. Hiccup's great too, seeing him get older and evolve is fantastic. And Toothless is just kind of a little goblin now, I love it. The film's great. Drago is kind of embarrassing. Okay. He's got a lot going for him. Design is great, he's built up greatly, and him killing Stoic is a mind-blowing moment. And he is well performed, but his screaming is the funniest thing ever. Also, someone pointed out to me that he sounds insanely close to Animal from the Muppets, and I can't unhear it.
See, I know what it is to live.
Come on, Bunny. Come on.
Then I'm about to show my friend my guard over body pillow, but on the way to my room, I step on a Lego.
Let me show you.
Also, the evil Bewilder Beast is a threatening monster, but sometimes it looks like a giant frog, and that's adorable. Still, a goofier villain can't ruin what's overall a fantastic movie. Far grander than the first, even if I prefer the first. My dear, my darling dear, it still astounds me. Also, Gobber's gay.
This is why I never married. This and one other reason.
Good for him. How to Train Your Dragon 3 is paradoxically the most popular and most forgotten film of the trilogy. The scene of Toothless trying to impress a Light Fury won't die. The Light Fury herself is probably more iconic than Hiccup at this point. If you're going to ask anyone to say anything about the movie past that, you'll get blank stares. I can honestly understand why. Don't get me wrong, I like it, but it's easily the most flawed of the trilogy. Hiccup has continued rescuing dragons and building up Burke. That has caused him to become a greater target for the Warlords, including Grimmel Grizzly, the man who wiped out every last Night Fury besides Toothless. There's also a girl Night Fury, and Toothless is very horny. This film starts immediately strong, great action, decent setup for everyone, Toothless's horrific mustache, and easily the best villain in the franchise, Grimmel. Granted, that's a low bar when your opponents are a mindless screeching beast and Red Death. But Grimmel is a charismatic, intelligent, really threatening villain who's always head of the gang. And he actually kind of wins in the end. I really feel bad for the dragons he's enslaved though, the Death Grippers. They're drugged and abused by Grimmel, just like the dragons controlled by Red Death and Drago. But here they're killed off without anyone really batting an eye. I never really care about Astrid and Hiccup as a couple, but honestly they're really cute in this. I can kind of buy them together now. About Hiccup though. They keep bashing him, but he's apparently dragging the tribe down and caring too much about his ego and Toothless, but like, no. He acts the same way he always did. Was immediately fine with giving up Toothless when it came clear he wanted to save the Light Fury. I don't know, it's weird. Usually I like the side cast too, but Rough Nut went from insanely dumb to completely screwing over the entire tribe by falling for the world's most obvious trap and leading Grimmel to them. Genuinely kind of hated her after that. Rough Nut isn't T.J. Miller anymore though, so you know what? It does have one thing over the others. Volka is a satellite character. She does nothing. It could be interesting to see how it integrates into human culture after 2 decades away, but no, she's just kind of there. There's also a really unfunny running gag about how Snoutlout is into her. She kind of flirts back at the end. Gross. Only good relationship in this film is Gobber and Eric getting kind of soft and charmed as a couple. With that said, this film might also be the most gorgeous DreamWorks movie ever. Borderline near realistic while also keeping the striking colors and angular designs. Probably DreamWorks' best traditional looking animated film, excluding the ones that are more experimental like Plus 2 and Bad Guys. So yeah, overall, I really like this film at the end. I think Hiccup comes to his own very well. I think Toothless' stuff is pretty fun. I think Grimmel's a fantastic villain. The ending! I get why they did it. I get why they separated dragons and humans. But like, there's so many ways they could have salvaged this. There's so many people on the village. Just split the village. Or the more obvious answer, Toothless, the dragon leader, could convince the hidden world dragons to accept the humans living there. It's a perfect way to cap the series and have it come full circle. Actually, wait, why is it even titled The Hidden World? It appears for like 5 minutes. But also, even a problem. It's known that the villages are warming up to living with dragons. Why not just keep them? They say they want to wait for dragons to be accepted and can return in peace. But like, a decade without humans made Toothless feral. What's the chance that the entire dragon horde can change? Guys, I do like this movie. It's got a lot going for it. But the one thing it doesn't is its ending. And that being the final note the whole series ends on, because they clearly wrote this whole ending where the dragons are away from humans to ensure nothing more will come from it. It's a pretty bad taste in my mouth. Still, a mostly fun movie that I can still call a good closer. But what if Toothless was people? The Disney live-action remakes have been rampaging across Hollywood, infecting animation with ugly redoings that are far lesser than the originals, missing what people liked about them. The one upside to this is that it was pretty much locked to Disney. No other company really got into it, at least until the 2025 How to Train Your Dragon remake. I mean, DreamWorks is trying to always one-up Disney. I'm just shocked it didn't happen sooner. Maybe just because what will they remake? The films are a lot more cartoony than Disney's are, and tend to be primarily focused on non-humans. Megamind definitely could work, but isn't profitable enough. Shrek's too valued a brand. That basically only leaves How to Train Your Dragon and Boss Baby. They made the wrong call. Story-wise, it's the original movie. As in, verbatim, no changes, beat for beat, shot for shot. It's the original. It's not even worth explaining the plot. It's the same as the first, with some status illusions, like Hiccup not being nowhere near as sarcastic, stripping him a lot of his charm. It's weird. It's actually the same film, but not animated. It's by adapting one of the most beautiful CGI films of all time, which is something a lot of the Disney remakes were bashed for. I don't know, maybe it's because Disney tends to get a lot more scrutiny than most companies. And it was released only a few weeks after the universally hated Lilo & Stitch remake. But I'm just kind of irritated with this film's existence. The director stated that he viewed the original animated film as a blueprint for the real movie that this is. An absolutely disgusting sentiment that has horrifically devalued both the original animation as a medium. Especially since the designs of the dragons are just so much more generic than the animation. I do the original Monsters Nightmare, as I said before, but this one is just so boring. Two of those great, of course, though, because, you know, the animated would have been shot if he wasn't perfect. But I just wish they expanded on the rest of the cast. Actually, the Terrible Terror is a chameleon now. You know what? You get 1 point. Actually, this film does have a few genuinely good points. Snell's relationship with his dad is expanded on to give him more weight. Hiccup has a little reaction shot to show a speech that he's finally proud of his son that adds so much with so little. There's a few other lines like Gobber talking with Hiccup and this weirdly funny scene that I liked.
Is it?
No, Chief, I guess not.
But at the end of the day, I'd still just rather watch the original. You know how big the series has grown, something spin-off material. Legend of the Bone Napper Dragon has Gobber tell the kids of a mysterious dragon that he has beef with, so they go off to fight it. It's a little dumb that no one believed that Gobber saw this dragon. People said the same about Toothless, and like, is a dragon that wears bones really that weird when this is canon? It's a pretty fun special though. The Bone Napper has a really cool design, and I like the 2D animated bits.
Gobber, take off your pants.
Book of Dragons is a short showing off some of the various dragons and how to tame them. It's pretty fun world building, and the kid in me is ecstatic to see more of his creatures. My favorites being the Changeling, because it's a chameleon type puppy. Gift of the Night Fury is the Christmas special, because of course it is. There'll never be Shrek the Halls. Here the gang is celebrating Snoggletog, which sounds like a slur, but unfortunately all of their dragons are missing, having left for unknown reasons, which hits differently after Hidden World. Turns out they're just laying eggs. It's cute. There's definitely less dragon stuff in this one than other specials. Dawn of the Dragon Racers is a short explaining the sheep game that in the second movie. Decently fun, big fan of the face of the sheep on the poster. Homecoming is the second Christmas special. Why? Thor is the god of this world. This breaks the lore. I'm canceling Hiccup. Anyways, I think Thor should strike everyone down because I kind of don't like this. Taking place after 3, it does try and show that Toothless does remember Hiccup well, which is appreciated. Everything else just makes the endings even worse. All that talk about teaching the next generation about how great dragons are. Yeah, the literal next generation already doubts that dragon riders existed. The dragons desperately want to reunite with the humans. Humans really want dragons. Everything is solid and Toothless reintroduces himself. And Gobber's taking over a play made to show that dragons are cool, to make it all about stoic, and is really out of character. You can jangle the cute dragon babies in front of me all you want, but I'm sorry, I kind of hate this. The low point of the series isn't hyper-realistic. But hey, I'll also begin with Snoggletog Log, the second Yule log DreamWorks has made. Is this some sort of weird monkey critter for them? Why are there 2 of them? Oh well, nothing to report here. It's just kind of a Yule log video with occasional interruptions from the various characters. No, seriously, I feel like I should censor Snoggletog. It just sounds so wrong. So there's a big reason why this is the final of the big 4 DreamWorks franchises I decided to do. I've seen all the TV shows for the other 3, but never any of them for this one. I've known the existence of Dragon Riders of Berk, also known as a lot, for a long time, but never really gave it a shot. It came out when I wasn't really watching cartoons, so I just kind of skipped over it outside of seeing a few random episodes. The show is also a little weird in how, after its second season, it went to Netflix, or stayed for an additional 6. Yeah, this is actually a pretty chunky show, released right before the second movie, and then right before the third came out. It's about a small sanctuary hiccup the writers have, where they go and save dragons and fight various warlords who come by. The show is actually pretty good. It really does feel like bite-sized bits of the films, exploring how integrated dragons into society, the evolving friendships of the writers and the dragons, how Hiccup's mindset of kindness actually helps a lot, redeeming several villains in a way that retroactively explains why he was so certain he can get through to Drago. Heck, rare for a show based on a movie, a decent chunk of the cast returned. Obviously, the really big names like Gerard Butler and Jonah Hill would never be grabbed for this. The voice actors Hiccup, Astrid, and Fistlegs all actually reprise their roles, which is really cool. Sadly, they also brought back TJ Miller. This is the second era point Big Hero 6 will get over this franchise. The animation is honestly close to the original films. Okay, you can easily tell the budget is lower, but it generally does look pretty good. Especially with the dragons, again, scaled or hard in CGI. But the dragons all look great. The new characters are all super solid. The villains are all the way threatening and fun, and more importantly, the new dragons. You have the Skarmory looking razor whips, the extremely creepy screaming death, the extremely stupid looking typhoon rings, triple strikes, which are cool with their scorpion motif, sentinels that basically just dragon gargoyles, shellfires that are just stupid to me. It's also easily my favorite new dragon, the Singed Tail. The big strong one that serves as the biggest threat for the heroes. It has a chameleon motif, so I like it. It can fart fire, and somehow is taken seriously. They really build a lot on the other writers, who were kind of throwaways honestly in all the other movies. How the Nick Kung Fu Panda show gave some more love to the five. Though sadly, since this mostly takes place outside the village, Stoic and Gobber are largely non-factors. It does hurt every time we see Stoic though. Keep in mind that more than half of the show released after the second film, so we have a lot of scenes knowing he isn't going to make it much longer. One episode he worries about being an empty nester. Oh Stoic, you silly idiot. You won't have to worry about Hiccup leaving you. You'll be dead long before he can. Yeah, honestly, a very solid show. I really enjoyed it. Would recommend anyone who likes the films. When it comes to Rescued Riders, I knew exactly what to expect the millisecond I read the title. I'm more experienced in low-budget preschool show shy slop at this point. It's a freaking Paw Patrol knockoff, isn't it? Are there really no other preschool shows we can rip off? Is Paw Patrol really the peak of all baby shows? Yeah, it's a small group of dragons and humans going across the land to solve problems with their ingenuity and power with pilot toys. This has quite literally nothing to do with How to Train a Dragon. None of the characters from the films appear. The dragons can now fully talk and humans understand them. Sure, the dragons don't even look like the ones from the films aesthetically. I liked a few of the dragon designs, like this fat little bouncing chud, but I'm just kind of burnt out on low-budget preschool cartoons. Knock off Oswald instead, that shows flames. And that leads us to the final dragon show, The Nine Realms. This is a Peacock exclusive, meaning no one has seen it. The immediate first thing about it is that it will instantly tell you if you like it or not. The premise. This takes place millions of years after the films, in a modern day setting where dragons are slowly being uncovered. I think that's a unique twist, but the Viking world is so much more inherently different from anything I've seen in most mainstream animation that I kind of wish it stuck. The show isn't much special besides that. It's visually super cheap, there's a young pair of writers, despite being a decade after. Characters aren't really much to talk about, they're your standard kids show group. Their dragons are cool, except for Thunder. He's literally just Toothless to gain a personality. At that point, just have Toothless come back. Also, he's clearly a descendant of Toothless and the Light Fury, since they're only Light and Night Furies. We see his family also from Light Fury mixes. This implies that there's just heavy inbreeding in the Toothless household. Also, the one drawing of him at the end has clearly defined muscles. Someone on the staff is thirsting. I will say, as the series goes on, it does improve. The characters grow a lot. They introduce some really cool new dragons. Like, I'd argue it's the most interesting cast of new dragons, especially the main crew's specific dragons. And the big final boss is freaking Jormungandr of Norse mythology fame. That's awesome. It's still a super cheap and not a fantastic show, but I think it's a decent enough watch if you like this series. And after with all of that, I finally reviewed all of DreamWorks' big franchises. Please don't make me do Trolls. Last year on Twitter, there was a post going around which DreamWorks franchise of the big four would you remove. Kung Fu Panda is consistently the best, so it was almost entirely unscathed. And no one wants to be the one to remove Shrek. Being really just Madagascar or dragons. Looking at myself, yeah, even with Panda 4, the series has the best trilogy before, and some pretty decent side content. Shrek being removed from time is overall a net negative. Franchise just existing makes the world better. Plus it having arguably the three best films in the lineup. And between the two, yeah, Dragon is probably the most consistently good of them. And Aim's the highest, but low-key, I'll say Madagascar over Dragon. The first Dragon movie is leaps and bounds above the Madagascar films, but I just get more consistent enjoyment out of those. Various stuff I genuinely dislike, like the live-action remake and Homecoming. Even its sequels have some notable flaws. Also, Christmas Caper, The Penguin Show, and All Hail King Julian. Mog, literally every other non-movie thing DreamWorks has made. Story not sorry. That's definitely not to take anything away from Dragons, though. I love these movies. I love his characters. It's got some of the best animation in any animated movie, and has some fun spin-offs. so that sometimes consistently good isn't as special as having peak cinema in the same series as Donkey's Christmas Spectacular. I can kind of get why this feels really separate from the other big hits of DreamWorks. DreamWorks is very much seen as the funny studio, best known for comedy and being silly. And the Dragon films don't have as much humor as other series. Character designs aren't nearly as instantly as iconically recognizable as the other ones, or as hot as Hai Lung. I kind of get why these films are mostly pushed aside. Still, it's kind of sad. There's genuine love in all these movies, and I hope they can get just as much love as the other DreamWorks heavy hitters one day. Yeah, so How to Train Your Dragon is a really fun, consistently good series, and that actually leads me to the end of my big look at the DreamWorks big franchises. This franchise is not over, of course. I will have more non-DreamWorks videos I'm going to cover in the style, but for now, I must go off on my mighty noble steed.
You're thinking about this all wrong. It's not so much what you look like, it's what's inside that he can't stand.